So you're thinking of moving to South Carolina. Good choice, great place to live. But you're asking yourself an important question, a question you have to ask, which is, what's the cost of living there? What's it going to cost me to live in South Carolina? Hi, I'm Bob LeFavi, and first of all, write down this phone number. If you have any questions during this video, later on anything I'm talking about here, or any aspect of moving to South Carolina, just call me, text me. I'm happy to address them with you. Take a look at this. This data is from Sperling. Sperling is the most thorough and reliable source of demographic data in the United States. It's very detailed and they keep it up to date. So this is living in South Carolina versus living in other parts of the United States. And you'll see the cost of living is about 88.5%. What that means is for every $100 you spend elsewhere in the United States on stuff to live, everything, you'll spend about $88.50 in South Carolina. The big difference you'll see is housing, 73.6%. So for every $100 you spend on housing elsewhere in the United States, you're gonna spend $73.60 in South Carolina. And the majority of that is, if you go down a little deeper, into your median home cost. Median means the point in the middle. So there are just as many data points above as there are below. So this is the middle cost of a home. It's about $68,000 less than everywhere else in the United States, all averaged. But you wouldn't be moving to an average South Carolina. You're gonna be moving to some particular place in South Carolina. And that's what you really need to look at. Let's face it, the majority of people are looking to move to the Lowcountry. There's nothing wrong with Greenville and upstate, and some of the more rural areas upstate probably skew these numbers to the lower side, and some of the cities on the coast probably skew them a bit higher, but it's the Lowcountry that has Charleston, Hilton Head Island, those famous places, and a lot of other neat towns and cities. It's just a beautiful place to live, and that's where most people are looking. So let's take a look at that. This is Charleston. Great city. Cool place to visit, a little crowded, but you can see it's also expensive. Whereas the rest of the state is about 88.5% the cost of living relative to the rest of the United States. Here it's about 111%. So for every $100 you spend elsewhere in the United States, you're spending $111 on overall goods and services and stuff in Charleston. And when you look a little further down the list, and you look at the different categories, you see things like health and healthcare. Well, in general, this is the cost of hospital room stays, the cost of doctor visits. You see utilities, it's electric and natural gas. You see transportation. It's not just the cost of gasoline or other fuels, it also includes your vehicle registration. And then miscellaneous are things like entertainment, internet, which is gonna be about $60 a month depending on the provider. But what all this doesn't include too, and you have to keep in mind when you're moving to South Carolina, is there's a state income tax. Now, the state does allow for a lot of adjustments, exemptions, and deductions, and the max you'll spend, the max, is 7%. But look at housing in Charleston, 136%. You're gonna spend about what, $160,000 more for the median home in Charleston than the rest of the United States? Wow, it is expensive, which is why many people are looking a little further south towards Savannah and into Beaufort County. In Beaufort County, you have three major areas: Hilton Head Island, the famous island, Bluffton, just inside Hilton Head Island, a bit more inland, and then just a little bit further north between Hilton Head Island and Charleston is the historic town of Beaufort. Let's take a look at those. Hilton Head Island. Ooh, yeah. I love Hilton Head Island. I'm there all the time, but a little expensive to live there. So you thought Charleston was bad? For every $100 you spend overall in the United States on stuff, goods and services to live, you're spending $122 on Hilton Head Island. I mean, on the plus side, your transportation costs are kind of low because it's an island. You're not really going anywhere, so people don't spend a lot on gas, and there's a lot of bike paths and things like that. But let me point out something else too. The health costs, really not accurate And here's why, because that health cost is based upon the fact that you have some kind of insurance. And about half of all the doctors on Hilton Head Island are concierge doctors, which means that you pay a fee for the year. It could be $1,000 to $2,000 for access to that doctor. They don't take insurance. And then after the access to the doctor, you have the other tests and other things that you have to pay for on top of that. So it's not that easy. If you think you're going to move to Hilton Head Island, you're going to have an option of all kinds of general practitioners right down the road. That is not going to happen at all. So again, if you're showing up with good health insurance and you're able to keep it, I'd say that health cost is probably accurate, but if you're not, you're going to look for someone here. You're going to be driving off the island to get to a general practitioner. So that is one thing to keep in mind on Hilton Head, but still a great place to be. But look at the housing, 186%. Median home cost, $300,000 more than the average in the United States. It's great to be on Hilton Head Island, but it's great to drive off and go home to a nice bigger home that you can afford. So if it's for you, it's great. But if you're looking at cost of living and you plan to buy something on Hilton Island, you got to factor in it's going to be a much smaller place, but you're going to spend a lot more on housing than you thought you would. Let's move in a little bit more. Bluffton, cool little town, just inland from Hilton Head Island. What started out years ago as basically being just 1 square mile is now 50 square miles. It's got an old town of Bluffton, a new town, a lot of developments, a lot of shops, and you would think with all the developments, the housing supply would be up and the cost would go down, but that's not really the case. When you look at everything else, the costs are in line. When you look at housing, 122%, you can spend $100,000 more for a house, the median house in Bluffton, than you would elsewhere in the United States. But overall, cost of living in Bluffton is not much more than the US. For every $100 you spend on general goods and services in the United States, you'll spend $104 in Bluffton. So it's not bad. It's certainly, if you're looking at what you're spending money on, you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's certainly a better choice than Charleston or Hilton Head Island. But take a look at this. Beaufort, great little historic city on the way between Savannah or Hilton Head Island up to Charleston, just north of the Broad River. And when I say Beaufort, I don't just mean the city of Beaufort, I mean all of the sea islands, the SEA islands. That's Ladies Island, St. Helena Island, Distant Island, Cat Island, Harbor Island, Fripp Island, and it just goes on and on. You can turn around in Beaufort and not go across some waterway. In fact, the more you're hanging around Beaufort, the more you think, my goodness, I want to live on the water. There's so much of it here. Folks, take a look at the cost of living, a little better. 94% of the US average. So every $100 you spend on goods and services in the United States, you'll spend 94 in Beaufort. 96% housing costs. The median home cost about $25,000 less than the US average. And given the fact that there's more water here than you'll find anywhere around Hilton Head Island in those communities and even in Bluffton, I mean, it's just something you need to take a look at. Folks, I've been here for 30 years in the Lowcountry and around this area. And the more I'm here, the more I appreciate what Beaufort has to offer. And it's not just me. This just came out in the Washington Post. Folks, we're getting found out. You're watching a video on cost of living, so you are interested in that. If you really want to maximize your bang for your buck, and I'm trying to not sell you on this too hard, because if you really want to go to Hilton Head Island, go there. If you really want to go to Bluffton or Charleston, go there. But if you want the biggest bang for your buck, do yourself a favor, do your due diligence, and check out Beaufort also. Now, one other thing. There are a lot of folks who want to move to South Carolina, to the Lowcountry, and they feel that they prefer to rent first. That they'll rent for maybe a year and then see what the area is like and where they want to purchase permanently or build. And in theory, it's a really good idea, but there's a little asterisk here. But let me give you some numbers. First, 2-bedroom rental in Beaufort, $1,094 average, so just under $1,100. 2-bedroom rental in Bluffton, $1,164 average. 2-bedroom rental in Hilton Head Island, $1,505. Not terrible. 3-bedroom rental in Beaufort, $1,412. 3-bedroom rental in Bluffton, $1,503. 3-bedroom rental in Hilton Head Island, $1,717. Now here's the asterisk. If you can find it. The rentals here are at a premium. And that's because we have military bases. We have a Marine Corps Air Station, a Naval Hospital, Paris Island, and there are folks who just are here for a short period of time and they rent. And it's difficult. You have a university, a technical college, and many of those rentals are taken up by those students. It is really hard to find a rental. You've got to get ahead of the game. I can't tell you how many people contact us and they say, well, we're gonna rent first. Okay, let us know if you need any help. A month later, they come back and say, I think we're gonna need to purchase. Can't find anything. So keep that in mind when you're looking to move. The bottom line is this, depending on where you choose, it can be very affordable to live here, as long as you know going into where you're buying what that cost is. So do your due diligence. Good luck to you. Love to have you as a neighbor, and reach out to me anytime. Thanks for watching.